With San Francisco wrapping up their first padded training camp practice, one of the most impressive rookies was their 4th round selection, CJ West, the defensive tackle out of Indiana. He has an impressive first step and a rare mixture of power and speed, and today during one-on-ones, he was absolutely dominant, with probably his best rep coming against Dominic Pooney, where later in the rep, he was able to pull out his infamous swim move he developed during his time at Indiana. And on top of that, I love these type of judo throws he routinely pulls out. And when you look at West on paper, he looks like he has a potential to be the next DJ Jones. He comes in at 6'1", weighing right around 320 pounds, but impressively ran his 40-yard dash in 4.95 seconds and his 10-yard split in 1.73 seconds. So given West's dominance so far in San Francisco's training camp and basically this entire offseason, I really think he has the potential to be a breakout player for San Francisco. But to really examine the player he is, I did want to break down some of his film in this video. Before we dive right into CJ West's film, we need to talk about Chris Kasarik and Robert Saleh's philosophy on the defensive line. They run a wide 9, which means their defensive linemen don't necessarily need to read and react, but more so penetrate into the backfield, which is perfect for CJ West. Since he has such a low center of gravity coming in at 6'1", right around 320 pounds, it makes it extremely challenging for offensive linemen to get underneath him, and he routinely drives them into the backfield because of this power and leverage combo. Maybe more intriguing to me though is West's athleticism. Despite coming in at such a big size, he plays like a much smaller defensive lineman or even a bigger linebacker. I mean, he has insane lateral quickness, and once he gets in the backfield, he has the closing burst to bring down running backs or quarterbacks trying to get away from him. Initially starting out, we're going to be looking at him in the passing game though, because I think this is one of his more underappreciated aspects of his game. Because just like his run defense, he does a great job of taking advantage of his athleticism and leverage. Here for instance, initially, he does a fantastic job with his hands using a swim move to disrupt this offensive lineman's block, which gives him enough time to split this double team from this offensive line. And from that point forward, his leverage and power takes over as he's able to beat both of their blocks, find his way into the backfield, and ultimately get the sack on the quarterback. And while West isn't the most refined pass rush specialist just yet, I do love his swim move. He's routinely able to pull it out and find his way into the backfield, beating slower offensive linemen. He also has a pretty nice judo throw. He routinely draws the offensive linemen into his body before throwing them off. And as I was alluding to earlier, he has extremely violent hands and he keeps them active throughout the rep. You'll never see him give up on the play, and this is why routinely you'll see him chase down plays from the backside. To really illustrate this point here, he'll have to beat 2 offensive linemen. And initially, while it does take him a while to get penetration, you'll see how he doesn't give up any intensity on the play, and ultimately because of his agility and hot motor, he's able to find his way into the backfield, forcing the errant throw. And on this play, you can see him transition his speed and agility to power instantaneously as soon as he engages with his guard. He walks him into the backfield, basically collapses his pocket, and makes it so this quarterback has to throw it away. He's not over reliant on his power moves though, because when he does feel like he's being double teamed, like right here, he does a great job of getting skinny in this gap and then shooting it hard, which ultimately does help him put pressure on this quarterback. But back to his power moves, he does have a fantastic bull rush, and he routinely is able to walk offensive linemen back into the backfield, into the quarterback's lap, and once he does get back there, I do love how he's able to routinely put his hands up to disrupt the quarterback's throwing lane. I also think Chris Kasarik and Robert Saleh will love his ability to execute stunts because of his lateral quickness and agility, and once he does get in the backfield, he's going to be chasing down your quarterback, and while he doesn't always make the play, I don't know too many 320-pound defensive linemen that move as well as he does. He's also quick to identify screen plays. Like here, he quickly identifies something is amiss, so he breaks off of his initial rush plan and is able to break up the screen. And you can see on this play how he's able to tie his football intelligence into his athleticism, chasing down this running back despite him being on the opposite side of the field. This is incredible for a 320-pound defensive tackle. Now moving into him against the run, he does an excellent job of once again disrupting plays thanks to his athleticism and size. Here for instance, look how he's able to get horizontally with this running back and eventually helps bring him down for the tackle for loss. Another aspect of West's game I absolutely love is how he shoots gaps inside the offensive line as soon as he sees them forming like a linebacker. Here, for instance, as soon as he sees this daylight forming in the Michigan offensive line, he shoots this and brings this back down for a loss. And in a similar way to his pass rush, his play recognition is off the charts. He does a great job of reading where the back is going and then sheds a block without hesitation. The final strength I want to touch on West before moving on to his weaknesses is his ability to eat up double teams in the run game. Even when a team does say, okay, we need to stop West, sends a double team after him, often he'll shed it, find his way into the backfield, and make another big play. But with these positives being noted, he does have some clear weaknesses to his game, and that's why San Francisco was able to snag him in the 4th, with probably the most notable being his lack of length. He's not like Eric Armstead or a player like that who can disrupt an offensive lineman with his length alone. On top of that, West isn't the most complete pass rush specialist just yet, so he needs to continue to add tools there, and it would also help if he came up with a more complete plan. With that being said, Jordan Elliott and Nick Bosa should be able to offer some support in his development there, as well as Chris Kasarik, his defensive line coach. But overall, when I'm looking at him as a player, I think CJ West is going to offer a lot of production immediately in the run support, and eventually grow into his pass rush duties. But to fully understand the player San Francisco is getting headed into the season, I did want to briefly go over CJ West's career up to this point. When we were first introduced to CJ West, he was playing defensive tackle at Nazareth Academy in LaGrange Park, Illinois. And after his senior season, he was ranked as a 3-star recruit according to 24/7 Sports. And he had offers from Kent State, Bowling Green, Eastern Illinois, Illinois State, and Minnesota. Ultimately, he did decide to enroll at Kent State. And as a freshman for Kent State in 2020, he redshirted, played in 3 games, and registered 1 tackle. The following year though, in 2021, he was a starter, playing in 14 games with 13 starts, had 43 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and a pass broken up. The following year in 2022, he had a similar level of production, starting in 10 games, had 26 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. He then finished his career at Kent State in 2023, earning 3rd-team All-MAC Conference selection after starting in 12 games, registering 40 tackles, having 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. West then decided to enter the transfer portal headed into the 2024 season, and against tougher competition in Indiana, he was an honorable mention All-Big Ten Conference selection, played in 13 games with 10 starts, had 42 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, a pass broken up, and a forced fumble. He then entered the 2025 NFL Draft, and at the Combine he came in at 6'1", weighing 316 pounds, ran his 40-yard dash in 4.95 seconds, and his 10-yard split in 1.73. And with the DJ Jones replica sitting there in round 4 with pick 11, San Francisco selected CJ West, and so far he's been impressive, and I expect him to make an immediate impact this rookie season. But these are just my thoughts on CJ West as a player, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.